Hey everybody, EchoV here, and let's talk about the live-action Transformers films. Yeah, I get it. The initial live-action Transformers films by Macleod are not exactly fondly remembered by a lot of Transformers fans, and I kinda get it. The first 5 films initially released were nowhere near the best films the franchise had to offer, and it wasn't until the Bumblebee film arrived that we finally got to see what potential a live-action Transformers films truly had to offer. But let's ignore movies for a while and talk about designs. I know, the designs used for Transformers in the films are still subject to debate, but let me just say that I think some designs were done really well. So for this video, I want to talk about my favorite Transformers designs from the live-action films. Here we go! Starting off this list, we have the Dinobots. If there was a group of Transformers that I've been waiting for to appear in the films, it had to be the Dinobots, and their eventual appearance in AoE was well worth the wait. Taking inspiration from more modern depictions of prehistoric creatures that once roamed our Earth, the Dinobots got the upgrade that they've been waiting for a long time. It's one thing to just simply base them off the more modern depiction of dinosaurs, but it's a whole new thing to give them a bony-like design, almost making them resemble fossils in a way. While one can give the argument that because the Babers film, they decided to have some artistic liberties, such as horns for Grimlock and an extra head for Strafe, but even with all the extra designs, they don't really take away from the dinosaur modes and still look perfectly fine. Not to mention the knight-like inspiration for the robot modes. It seems weird at first, but considering both designs can be considered old and ancient, I'd say it's a fitting look. Combining in for number 2, we have the Constructicon Combiner Devastator. Okay, hear me out on this one. What I liked about Devastator's live-action appearance was the creativity of his design. Truth be told, I never did like the original G1 design due to him looking like a generic robot with a bunch of kibble, as well as the awful neon green color used for all of them. Yeah, I know, limitation time, but the creativity of the new one is just better in my eyes, honestly. Speaking of color scheme, I always preferred Devastator's color scheme in the movies. Most of, if not all, Decepticons in the live-action films were only one color and were dull. While I get that most military vehicles in real life don't exactly have the most color variation, a bit of color would have been nice. I mean, it worked for G1, right? Devastator's color scheme is a welcome addition to the drive of color that plagued the main robotic villains for most of the franchise. Individually, the designs for each member of the Constructicons is a hit or miss. Together, however, Devastator is a great design. Driving in to the 3rd spot is Crosshairs. Ever wonder what would happen if you took a Corvette C7 Stingray, fillet it open like a fish, and give it a robot mode? Then you get Autobot Mechanic and Weapons Technician and Paratrooper Crosshairs. Color-wise, Crosshairs is a great flashy green with a few splashes of black present on his vehicle mode. Within him, however, are all the metallic technological insides within. And if that wasn't enough to convince you that his design wasn't already great, then check out how his design incorporates part of his vehicle mode to look like a trench coat. It's a unique design that I think works very well. Not so much for the toys though, maybe one of these days. Flying in to number 4 is the Decepticon turned Autobot Samurai, Drift. What qualifies Drift for this list is not only his samurai-inspired design, which I personally think translates perfectly to a live-action design, but for also having quite possibly the cleanest face out of everyone in the live-action film roster. I also love how his dual swords translate well into the blades of his helicopter mode. Gotta love the good old-fashioned weapon conversion. Even without the weapon conversion, his helicopter mode still looks amazing with how it's designed compared to the real-life version. Drift is also one of the few robots change colors between films, going from blue to red in The Last Knight, which I still think looks fine for him. Pairing up for number 5 are the Decepticon baddies for Bumblebee, Dropkick, and Shatter. For at that time, being considered a prequel for a Bayformers film series, none of the Transformers featured in the movies reflected those designs, resulting in all of them looking out of place, especially considering what was to come after. That's not necessarily a bad thing, of course, but considering what was originally the plan, it should have reflected those designs. And they eventually did when they introduced the two new antagonists, Dropkick and Shatter. Even with the designs being more akin to the Bayforce film designs, I'd argue that they would still fit well with all the G1 designs used for the film. What I also love about the duo is that unlike other triple changers, both robot modes balance out their alternate modes, blending both parts together compared to others which seems to favor only one over the other. The Bumblebee film in general had a large role to fill, especially considering what came before it. And not only did it do so by being the better film, it also did so by introducing two new Decepticons that had great designs that can go either way. Prowling in to number 6 is one of the few animal-based Transformers, the Decepticon Ravage. Similar to the Dinobots that would follow, Ravage's design takes artistic liberties, giving him a bonier look, which in my opinion makes him look all the more ravaging. While his Bumblebee appearance still looks good, I mean, it is a classic G1 design after all, and one of the few that in my opinion still looks good to this day. But can I just take this moment to gush over Ravage's Revenge of the Fallen design for now? Everything about him looks good, from his single, menacing red eye, his spiky body design which I mentioned earlier, and not to mention how fluid he moves, as well as his weapons on his back. Overall, his design reminds me of a Zoid, and that's a good thing. Zoids are awesome to begin with. Ravage is one of the few Transformers in the film series to have more than one design, and what you prefer is up to you. Personally, however, I still prefer the Revenge of the Fallen one, but the updated G1 design still looks good. Clawing and crushing his way to number 7 is Bone Crusher. Okay, I take back what I said previously about having to wait until Devastator's appearance to have some colorful Decepticons, since Bone Crusher's bright, pale color really helped him stand out. Even when I first saw the film in theaters, I loved Bone Crusher's design due to how unique he was compared to his Decepticon comrades. I think what we can all agree on stood out from him was the presence of the huge fork in his vehicle mode, even made more apparent when the huge fork in his vehicle mode doesn't even exist in real life, and instead came from a Photoshop image of the vehicle. Bone Crusher's appearance was so great that even the Force Protection loves it, to the point that even his toy form is used in the news at one point. Nice. While his presence in the film was a short one due to him being the very first Decepticon to die in the film saga, his design still stands out to this very day. Gone trotting his way to the penultimate spot of number 8 is Autobot Commando, Hound. Don't let his size fool you one bit. This new Autobot and Optimus' new second in command is armed to the teeth with all sorts of weaponry and can and will blast you if you so much as look at him funny. Okay, maybe not, but he might. You never know. What I like about his design is the incorporation of what looks like a cigar made of a bullet, which in my eyes is a nice touch to his overall design, as well as having some nice looking metallic facial hair. Maybe it's just me, but facial hair in Transformers always looked weird in the past, but somehow, someway, Hound manages to pull it off well. I also have to give special mention for two things. One, his Mercedes Unimog alternate mode in The Last Night, which has a nice detail of having a Decepticon kill count. And 2, being voiced by good old John Goodman. I know it might be unfair to not talk about the rest of the voice actors, but John Goodman just shines as Hound for me. And wrapping up the best Transformers design video countdown, and cruising his way to the final spot of number 9 is Sideswipe. As one of the new Transformers to be introduced in the sequel, Revenge of the Fallen, Sideswipe quickly rose to one of my favorite designs for the film, from not only having a slimmer, sleeker, and stylish design, but as well as having two new features that immediately catapulted him to one of my favorite designs. First off, he has wheels instead of feet, allowing him to fuel his need for speed across much faster than the rest of his Autobot comrades to either reach foes or become harder to hit. And let's not forget my favorite feature of his design, a pair of wicked blades on his arms which can be detached when he has to. What was that he said again?
Damn, I'm good.
Damn right he is. As well as in terms of design. And that is why Sideswipe is my favorite design from the Transformers film saga. And that is it for the video. Of course, there were other good Transformers designs from the films that could have easily made this list, but I decided to limit it to not only give other designs a chance, but also because the video would have been way too long. Thanks for watching! Agree or disagree, leave it in the comments below. If it's your birthday today, then happy birthday, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye everyone, be good to each other.